Podcast.
This is our last. I know. This is our last series of the day too, Smacks. I was mentally prepared for 3 series, but because we were only doing the lower bracket first round, it's just this, and then day 1 of the majors will be completed. So
you're just prepared for
us,
tomorrow, Rafa. We got some more action tomorrow. Don't you forget it as well. If you're listening in right now,
honestly,
tune in tomorrow too for the rest of the tournament.
I'm super hyped to see Jolly and all kill it again on the cast.
Oh,
I was really pleased watching them with the rest of Twitch chat and the fans in the spectator booth, and I hope that they had a fun time because it sounded like they did.
Yeah, I had a fun time listening to it. It was
Me too.
Great energy. I'm glad we got to hear some Jolly casting, and Alkbetter was there too. But
all these subtle jabs and
I'm joking.
On, man.
I love Alec Battery. He did a great job. We're into the draft though. Lee Sin is the first ban. I like that as a denial away from Tony, one of his best champions that we've seen. And we're already starting out with the Baron lane bans and a lot of pressure there with no you and Zenith God, like you said.
For YMCA, a couple of options, as since Yawn are actually now on red side, even though we were prepared for a blue side Yawn game, this does kind of change a little bit of the focus now because as Yawn, you are now able to secure a counter pick option for Zenith God. YMCA, I don't know if it's in their best interest to take away the Darius because there's other picks like Ziggs and Corki that are still left on the table to ban away.
Yeah. And that Lucian, like you said before, too. Corki already going to be banned. I feel like Ziggs is going to follow, too. The other big one that we've seen a lot, especially in our qualifier, was Braum. Braum, one of the most powerful supports in the meta, and does activate things like that. Lucian very well, too. I like this Varus ban as well. It's been one of Nam's comforts, and when you do have a marksman that has comfort on Varus, that is going to just raise the priority of that champion, as is true for most comfort, but Varus is specific because he is a unique champion in that regard, and he doesn't have the same aspects in that dragon lane as others. But Rafa, Ziggs is up.
Yeah, you read my mind, man. The Ziggs is available, and now YMCA is it in their best interest?
Yeah.
Yes,
it is in their best interest.
We were trying to beat around the bush with it, but we're like, no. You should snag up the Ziggs right away here if you're YMCA.
This will be a blast.
Yep.
Oh look, 5-head draft casters right now, Rafa. We got the Braum and the Lucian paired up. I like it from Yawn. This is a very good pairing, and that does typically mean that the Lucian will be going to the dragon lane. But still, that is just a nice stuff because with Lucian's double shot, you get to activate the concussive blows from Braum a lot quicker. So, good stuff.
Yeah, YMCA on the flip side immediately lock in some heavy dive and engage power from Wukong and Camille respectively. Yawn are going to go for a little bit of not necessarily anti-dive, as Moonfall you want to necessarily use for engage power, but if used correctly, you can stun and prolong engages from YMCA. Crescent Guard is also great for mitigating damage from a distance, and YMCA, I mean, this is full on. We are going in. The Kai'Sa will be assisting and following up with the Killer Instinct, and we on the Lulu, whoever's closest is going to get the Wild Growth for the AoE knockup.
Yawn locking in another melee champion. This is not very much range that Yawn have drafted, and I think that this is a good strategy where they are going very aggressive against Ziggs, but at the same time, if you do start to fall behind, it's going to be so difficult to actually kill Boba at any point in this game because of that range deficit that you now find yourselves at. The biggest range you have is the calling from Lucian, and past that, you're lucky if you can actually get in range. You're probably going to have to flash in to get to this Zig. So I think the Yawn are really going to need to put the pedal to the metal in this early game.
And thankfully, you can always build Seralda's Grudge on Nom and give your culling just a massive AoE slow that will keep YMCA at bay. Outside of Cyclone and Hextech Ultimatum, you don't really have any other reliable ways of engage from this composition that YMCA have drafted. But like you said, Smacks, the The engage tools are also somewhat limited for Yawn, so they are the ones that want to look for the acceleration and the snowball in the early game. And Zenith God being prioritized for the R5 counterpick means that he has Renekton, and he's already... Noyu's already actually burned the barrier. Zenith God not even using Flash or Ignite, just raw level 1 fighting.
Renekton super powerful as a counter pick into this matchup, especially when you think about the precision protocol shield that Camille gets. For Renekton, you can use your empowered stun to eat the entire shield and then deal the damage of it. So nice matchup for the Renekton. You win out on those auto attack trades in the early laning phase. Later, though, it's going to be completely opposite, where Noyu will have the advantage. So it's going to be up to Zenith God to win out on this matchup, but he's doing a great job, and they have a dive on the way.
Yeah, I know you already put the ward down trying to smell it out before it comes in, but I don't think they're going to be able to do much. Tony taking turret, aggro, and immediately flashing out. Make sure that the dive is clean for first blood.
Great job from Yawn. This is the exact play that I was hoping that they would make, aggressing forward and just finding more plays than YMCA can mitigate. But this might be avenged on the bot side. Oh.
Zora might flash for it. There it is. Closes the distance down on to Don't Care. But a return kill from Nom looks for the 1v2 against Overjoyed and Wee. He's able to find Wee. Overjoyed is able to get out.
I still like that play from YMCA overall, but Wee is just not playing a very bulky champion on Lulu. She does fall under the turret, and we do find out that this early game is still going pretty well for Yawn. They've got another kill now on their Lucian, too, and like I was saying before, this is that ranged champion that you want to be getting ahead, and you want to have the snowball rolling for, because then that range advantage that Ziggs gets is mitigated a lot.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
Even though the HP looked like it was in Noyu's advantage, he knew that time was not going to be on his side as Zenith God's cooldowns were just about to come up, and the flash, despite being traded, Zenith still comes out on top.
And I don't believe Noyu had barrier quite yet, so there's very fortunate timing on that play by Zenith God. Another kill in the Baron lane. Really nice plays from Yawn overall. And they still need to think about how they're going to attack Ziggs, but every other lane seems to be going quite well for them.
Gold lead slightly in Zenith, or I should say Yawn's favor. But definitely a solid 600 gold advantage, and he's rushing the Blade of the Ruin King, so not only it's going to give him powerful dueling potential, but also sustain to keep himself topped off, in addition to the already built-in sustain you get from Call of the Meek whenever it is empowered.
Blade of the Ruin King, super nice option in that lane for Renekton, but again, this is making Renekton weaker when it comes to the team fights, but that's really not something that Yawn can afford to think about, I think, in this game. They have to keep going for the isolated lane matchups and getting the jungle interaction too, which Tony has done a great job of. I really like that early play, and he is now setting up for the Rift Herald, which is a nice way to get that snowball rolling. I'm appreciating the way that they're being heads up about the early plays that they need to be making, and Rift Herald, the better objective in the early game compared to Dragon.
And one of the things that we've talked about Tony in the past is that he definitely... Oh, okay. You know what? No one saw that. Tony does have a tendency to prioritize a lot of early game aggression, giving up a lot of his time to farm camps and get resources for himself just to accelerate the map and look for kills, look for ganks. In the games that Yawn are extremely accelerated, it means that the ganks from Tony paid off. The investment was worth it. In the games that they lose, Tony was not able to find those successful ganks, and this always, in either situation, still puts him at a deficit compared to any of the enemy jungle matchups that we've seen, which is why when we saw the Yawn and the Cloud9 matchup during the qualifier earlier this week, Tony kept going for ganks and ganks, but Cloud9, every time that they stuffed it, he was down 3,000 gold, while Tarzan was just happily farming away and putting himself ahead in the 1v1 matchup.
That didn't stop Tony from keep trying, though, and I appreciate that from him. He's going now over to the Dragon. Got this set up very well on the bot side. Whee!
Oh, beautiful culling from Nom. Is going to find out we on the other side of that Krug camp. Overjoyed and the rest of the members of YMCA are going to see if they can make an engage, but it's a 5-stack on 3 at the moment. Yozora gets found out by the Zenith God with the Ruthless Predator. Dominance, he's going way deep, hard in the paint. But now 9 might have been baited. the rest of the members. No use, gonna flash over the wall. Doesn't have hookshot quite yet. Tactical sweep is gonna land onto 2. Looking for the follow-up, but he gets stunned up at the concussive blows. Tactical precision. Precision protocol might get up with the shield. Hextech ultimatum. This locks him up. They trade 1 for 1, but at what cost? Overjoyed now seeing if he can equalize the odds. One more auto attack will clean up the passive, and there it is.
Well done from Overjoyed to be the cleanup carry, but Tony's here now too. I don't think Overjoyed and we can make it out.
He gets over the wall. Crescent Guard comes out. Overjoyed actually had decent amount of kiting there. Almost brought Tony to fully low HP bars. Whee! He actually won out. There's no way he wins out against Don't Care, though. And a couple of more on attacks, and Don't Care finally ends the madness.
She was so close. The Lulu combat, but we still does die. Twice in the same fight. That's how long the fight lasted, Rafa. It's over 1 objective. if Yawn really were trying to step up the tempo in this game, then mission accomplished. They have absolutely done exactly that.
Jesus. You want to take over for 30 seconds, Max? Let me just...
Whee!
Whee! Yeah, I mean...
30 seconds of that.
That fight was a roller coaster, for sure. Definitely the same reaction. But Yawn, God bless. Thank you, observers. Give we the focus and the spotlight.
Oh boy, Overjoyed may have stepped too far.
We steps up, soaking half of the damage from the culling. As we have a potential gank on the top side of the map. Zenith God is able to take out No You, though, before eventually going down to Yozora. But Tony! Whoa. Yo, Tony!
Where did Tony come from? This times like this where we need to remind ourselves that Tony is on the red team. He came from under the blue turret there with the Rift Herald. That's going to be first turret now for Yawn. Well done for Tony, finding that sweep as he finds the play under the turret. Another charge from Rift Herald too. Another turret plate and goes over to Yawn. Eventually, there it is.
And check this out, Spax. Tony, as we were talking about before in his past matchups, he's about 1,500 gold ahead of Yozora. He is so incredibly accelerated, and all the ganks, all the moves that he has made on the map have paid off. And this is where Yawn, this is their comfort zone, when Tony is able to pull off these ganks and set up the lanes for success. And Zenith God now also properly ahead. Blade of the Ruin King, a Black Cleaver almost completed as well, just as No You was able to finish the first item power spike in that Trinity Force, but down about 500 gold, still keeping in line with Zenith God somewhat, but still, this is a scary crocodile on the Rift.
There are a couple of important players still at play in this game, though, Rafa. For YMCA, they are the saviors, and for Yawn, they are the problems, and those are Boba and Overjoyed. Despite Yawn having this early lead, Overjoyed still has the most gold in the game, snowballing this Kaisa super well. And there's still the late game of Yawn, or of Boba. This Ziggs is still scary. He hasn't even died a single time. He hasn't really been in many of the fights at all, but he's still farming up, and we've seen Boba just take over games, usually on Assassins, but getting one of the most powerful champions in all the meta in this Ziggs is going to mean a lot for him.
Even though Boba hasn't really seen that much kind of flashiness this game, it's because he's playing the Ziggs. He knows his job. And this where we might get the big wombo here. Big Inferno Bomb landing right on top of the Cyclone from Yozora. No You locking down the opposition with the Hextech ultimatum. Just sets up for an easy double from Overjoyed. Now Yawn, they are at a numbers advantage. No smite dealer either. Culling comes out trying to put the enemies at YMCA at low HP. They're going to be forced out of the Dragon Pit. YMCA are going to be able to secure the Dragon.
Yawn can't step into this. The culling, again, that's their only ranged tool they can use without fully committing all of their members and all their health bars to that fight. That's the only way they can do anything there. No, you having a little fun tanking up the turret, but it's going to die so quick thanks to Zig's satchel. YMCA proving why Boba and Overjoyed are problems and are saviors for them.
Yawn. Now kind of at a difficult point in the game, because YMCA This Boba Ziggs is about to come online now with the Seraph's Embrace.
Yeah.
It hasn't been fully stacked, still an Archangel Staff, but don't be fooled by that 005 KDA from Boba. It might not look like he's not doing too much, but if we take a look at the damage charts and you see how the Mega Inferno Bombs have been beautifully lined up with the engages from Yozora, then the numbers will tell a different story here.
Ziggs is just one of those champions that always will top a damage chart. As you can see Yawn trying to position to take this turret. They already do get it, but they were looking for any sort of response play. A little bit slow to get into that bush, and now No Use diving in.
Whoa, beautiful tactical sweep. Slow three members, and Yozora falls off with a beautiful Cyclone. Another knockup for the Cyclone. It's just a bounce house. I swear they've been knocked out 3 or 4 times, and Yawn just don't have any way to respond.
These are not champions that you think of when you think of what a wombo combo composition looks like, but YMCA just delivered. That was absolutely insane. All the knockups, all the damage from the Ziggs layered so well and so creatively too. No You being the initiator, knocking everyone up and finding the isolation. Oh my god, okay.
I know,
secure
I thought the
Baron.
same thing. I thought the same thing. The time that the Baron disappeared as the winner's bite connected, we both thought, oh god, he stole it with a Braum key. But it thankfully, or the Braum primary ability, still.
If I'm in that game and I see the Braum Q over the wall, I just let out a high-pitched scream. I'm sure you can vouch for this.
Oh no, that's
exactly
me, bro.
what I would do.
It's like, guys, can someone block the skill shots over the wall, please? Oh man,
we almost just lost the game.
Yeah, thankfully that is not the reality that YMCA are living in.
Boy.
The reality they're living in is where Overjoyed is just diving past the turret and just completely destroying Yawn's backline in. My god, another knockup. Here comes Bounce House, a triple. Give him the quadra potentially. Is this going to be? Oh man, No You. Scumbag Baron Laner taking away the Penna from Overjoyed, but it's okay. And all in good fun for YMCA. What's really important is, Max, that they got the ace, and they have a lot of pressure right now to do some major damage. Death timers are not going to be long enough for them to end the game, but these inhibitor turrets are going to eviscerate.
They have Ziggs, Rafa. Never count out the siege damage of Ziggs for YMCA. They're playing it safe. They're backing away, and you can see that Yawn are a little bit shaken after this. When Overjoyed just gets to dive past 2 turrets with Killer Instinct, forcing poor Wii, to tank the turret and try desperately to follow up. Lulu does not have Killer Instinct. Oh man, you gotta appreciate what Wii's given to us in this game. A Wild Rift right now.
Look
at the polymorph positioning. I love that.
Max, I think we've said it multiple times before. Bounce House composition coming out from YMCA. They've got the engage. They have the gold lead, almost 10,000 in their favor. And at this point, it is just only a matter of time. Non tries to escape. The Void Seeker is going to get blocked by Don't Care, No You, and Hot Pursuit. Nom and No Don't Care are going to be able to make it out alive, but I can't say the same about this Nexus.
Nope. Baron minions are here. Everyone's still alive for YMCA. The sweep comes through. Can they kill them in the Nexus? Nope, they can't, but they don't need to. That's game 1 for YMCA.
Victory.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Now, Yawn better do something come game 2, or they're gonna get knocked out of this tournament. All right, that's enough for now. I'm pretty sure Twitch chat is already cringing enough, so we're going to try and, do them a solid favor. We're just having fun here, as I know YMCA, they got to have a little fun near the end back half of that game. Now, Yawn, we have to go back to the draft. This was all focused towards setting up Zenith God in the Baron lane. And Tony had a great early game on the Xin Zhao, but then come the mid-game smacks around the Dragon Pits when all the ultimates start connecting together from YMCA, and it just did not seem like Yawn could recover.
Let me tell you all a little bit of a story here. Gather round, gather round. For those of you who are mobile gamers and you're not into the League of Legends esports, I'll tell you the tale of one Last Shadow. Last Shadow is a professional analyst, and he loves late game compositions. He does not like early game, and he only ever wants to pick scaling because he thinks that if you pick early game, then you are a sinner and you must be purged. Now, that's aggressive. I don't agree with that part. But you can see in action why he doesn't really like full early game compositions. Because when you give yourself no room to scale and you can't end the game in 10 minutes, things like this happen, Rafa. Where Yawn, they have an explosive early game. They're getting everything that they could possibly want. They get all these objectives, they get all these skirmishes, they're getting all these kills, the turrets, everything is going Yawn's way. But then they stop for just a moment, and YMCA finds their way back in. Yawn just can't do anything about it. So that's exactly what just happened. Shout out to Last Shadow, LS, for the information. Brought to you by League of Legends PC.
Oh my goodness. I never thought that we would reference LS on a Wild Rift cast. But, all things considered, and all memes aside, there is a lot of truth to just that perspective on the game, because it's true. You're on a timer. And if you do not continue pushing the game at a pace where you can continuously accelerate it and close out the game before the enemy's team composition comes online, then it's doomed. And that is why when you're looking at, when you look at the best teams in the world, they are the ones that are able to pull those compositions off, because they are just so damn precise and so damn good at executing at every single moment that is given to them. And even if a moment isn't given to them, then they force it out of you. They will pressure the map in ways and where you have to respond, and mistakes will naturally happen because of that. And
it's so hard.
It almost got to that point. The dives being set up against no U, they made a clean dive. No one dropped during the 3-man over on the Baron lane. A couple of things, though, for the side of Yawn was that, thankfully for YMCA, Overjoyed and we were winning the bottom duo lane. They were able to push in. They did give a little bit of an overextended kill back to Nom, but Overjoyed got so massively far ahead that when it came in time for those mid-game fights, Boba had been quietly farming, making sure that he wasn't being singled out or giving up on any unnecessary deaths, and Overjoyed just found stat advantages thanks to the superior laning that he and we had in that Dragon duo.
Overjoyed played so well in that game. I was really enjoying the Kaisa and the Lulu from Wii too. That duo ran over the rift, and I really enjoyed it. But for Yawn, when they're going for these compositions, they're really not doing themselves any favors by leaving open Ziggs. Because when Ziggs is already the best champion in the game, debatably, and he just completely ruins that composition, you gotta just ban it. It's so tricky to deal with that champion to begin with. And I think Yawn have learned their lesson. But they're also learned another lesson, and that is to not let Overjoyed snowball. Like you said, this Kaisa was crazy. So Yawn have a lot of stuff that they need to adapt to now in this series, and this is that elimination match. Whoever loses this series is out of that major. And they get more chances down the line in the Summoner Series as a whole. There are more qualifiers to come, but you do want to get that major down, and you want to get that 10K at the end. The prize pool is there, and we're going to see who wins that out tomorrow. But yeah, for Yawn, they got to turn it around.
I imagine now that Yawn are going to be turning towards the blue side in the switch, that we have to see a Ziggs ban from YMCA. I think YMCA are more than aware that, like, hey, Boba did a bunch of damage that game, and they could not pressure him out. They could not kill him. They never found any opportunities to take Zenith and Tony's lead from the Baron lane that they had accelerated into the mid lane. It seemed like Boba was never pressured at all, or just made sure that he was never in a position where he could be exposed, where he could be threatened. Even when you have Diana, Xin Zhao, Renekton, that can all dive you undeterred, and you're not rushing stasis on Zig. So considering that he could have been exposed or pressured early on and it never happened from the side of Yawn, makes me wonder that it just how defensive and well controlled Boba was playing to make sure that that was never a reality.
No matter what champion Boba is playing, he's going to have an impact. That's what we've seen in all of the games that we've watched of Boba and of YMCA in the past 2 tournaments, in 3 tournaments even as well, if you count qualifier 1. So you have to have some plan of attack against this guy, and giving him the best champion in the game is just not that. So for Yawn, I would love to see if they can pick some very aggressive skirmishing champions in that mid lane and in that jungle and just try to kill Boba over and over and over. I think that would be really fun to see if they can do that.
The funny thing is, Max, we just got word that Yawn is actually elected to choose red side again. So it goes to show that they still want to maintain counterpick priority for Zenith God, because I think when we covered it at the top of the draft and at the top of the series when Casanova was still with us, miss him 1, 2, 3. Zenith God is kind of a pinnacle for this composition, and they want to focus resources into the Baron side of the map. And so even in the loss, they are still trying to go for a similar approach in this game too.
We're also getting word that there is a substitute for YMCA, Rafa. No You is taking a step back after that game, and instead it will be Dawn in the Baron lane.
Oh!
So, yeah, we'll have a return of one of the Snow members for this squad for YMCA, and I mean you can see right there the champion pool is not that different. Although for No You, we've seen a lot of like creative things, some that I liked more than others, like the Pantheon. But yeah, I think Dawn is a great addition to this team too, and I'm excited that they're giving him a game in this match after they took game 1.
I'm wondering what the approach or the thought process behind either, because we saw Dawn once when he was busted out in I think it was over on Team Snow's matchup against was it Team Visual?
Yeah,
because it was our very first series of the second qualifier on Monday this week, and Team Snow, they won game 1 against Team Visual, and they said, you know what, Dawn, why don't you get some game time in? Come on in. Not saying that it was Dawn's fault. Team Snow did lose that second game. There's no correlation whatsoever. But I think it's interesting to have a sub situation now when you are in the lower bracket, and I maybe for No You, if they know that Yawn are going to target a lot of their priorities toward the Baron lane, maybe Dawn is a player that is more experienced in not receiving that many resources and can take something, or has specialized in maybe some champions that can deal with all that pressure from Yawn.
Or perhaps No You just wants counterpick, and he's salty that he's on blue side again. Maybe he just wants to pull out Draven one last time.
I'm not playing this lane again, man. I'm going to have to blind pick something, and they're going to counterpick. This game sucks. Just call me in for game 3 if we get red side instead.
We'll find out what's going on with this as we're getting into the draft here pretty soon. I'm excited for Dawn though. This is it's a spot where you can have that freedom to do it, even though this is an elimination match. If you want to have multiple members on this squad and you have different dynamics to it, then this is a good time to do it. So I'm excited.
I think it's also just awesome to get more player time in for your full roster. We're not sure if, even though Dawn has the name Snow in their IGN, we're not sure what the current kind of landscape is. If Dawn is changing to another team, or they needed a sub, and Dawn was someone that they liked to pick up. As now we take to the draft phase. If we recall the earlier bans, Smacks, Yawn, things like Corki and Gragas were taken off the table. I think another thing that was curious was there an Akali ban that we saw in game 1?
So there was a Akali, Corki, and Varus, I believe, were the bans for YMCA, and then Yawn took up the Gragas mantle for them. So we're swapping that already. YMCA are the ones banning Gragas, I believe. The bans go by so fast. But the Varus one is one that's really interesting. I wonder if YMCA are going to ban that one again, or if they think that anything that Yawn did in Game 1 is more threatening than the Varus. I like the Camille ban.
It just gets rid of a flex pick option from YMCA as well, considering that either Yozora or, I'm assuming Dawn, has put time into this Camille. We know that No, you just played it now.
Yeah.
Now for YMCA, they can continue going down the route of the Lee Sin ban was another thing taken away from Tony, as Tomy did have quite the explosive game on Xin Zhao. Wasn't able to fully accelerate it into a win, but the makings and the puzzle pieces were there.
I like Tony's Lee Sin too. I like anyone's Lee Sin, really. Just give me more Lee Sin gameplay. I've got an itch that needs scratched for that champion. It's very fun. Maybe that just means we need to play some Wild Rift later.
Sure. I thought you were about to start quoting Rocky Horror Picture Show, man. You know the song that I'm talking about?
I do not, unfortunately.
Have you not seen Rocky Horror Picture Show?
That'll be our next watch party. You know what? You can't say anything, okay? You still haven't watched Haikyuu, and I've been begging you to watch Haikyuu for like 10 months.
See, one's a musical.
Ziggs is up again, by the way.
And one's anime. Oh my god, Ziggs is open again. Well, YMCA. What's the play here then from Yawn? Swapping out the Camille ban, but like you said, Ziggs is open on the table. If y'all want to go for a similar approach, they can lock in Lucian Braum again. But I think YMCA dealt with that duo lane very well, saving the Dragon Lane counter pick into Lulu. As you know, Braum, we've seen it. He's a great support of being able to combo well with a bunch of auto attackers, but against ranged champions tends to struggle a bit in the laning phase.
I would say so, and I think we did a great job on the Lulu, and with Overjoyed too, to just mitigate that. But it won't be Braum this time. Still liking the Lucian, and giving Tony access to Olaf is pretty good too.
So switching things up. Instead of the Xin Zhao, they know that the Olaf would have the advantageous matchup into the Xin Zhao, so just early locking it in means like, hey, you're gonna have a bad time if you try to contest me at this point. YMCA could go for their they locked in.
I have a theory. My theory is that my theory's gone. My theory was that they locked in Akshan and it wasn't in the tool yet.
Oh my god.
It is actually Jarvan, so I'm a little bit disappointed. But you know what, Jarvan is cool too, and it does give YMCA much of the same tools that they had last game. The Renekton for we got Darius. Woo! I love Darius. Let's go, Zenith God. He's out.
We were wondering where Darius was. Well, Darius now.
You stole that from Casanova.
Okay, listen. I've heard that joke since high school with anyone's name that is Darius. Even one of the producers we work with over in Nerd Street, Jarius, I made the same joke.
Jarius.
I mean, it's a little bit more of a stretch as you know, the consonant J doesn't work as well as D, but you know.
Breaking news, Rafa. Breaking news from
What's
One Per Chance. We have a stat. Boba Ziggs is 100% win rate. That is not a very fun stat for Yawn, unfortunately.
Well, now
that's pretty scary.
I mean, I don't doubt that. How many games though? What's the sample size? That's what I'm.
At least one. We just watched it.
Okay, well, I could. But I'm sure we've seen. I think we saw at least 2-3 games of Ziggs during the qualifiers. Only one of them was Boba. So if it's over the entire first or second circuit into the first major, that is damn near impressive. And
what if she's talking about in solo Q2? He's played like...
Now, if that's...
Zenith God's dead.
The Zenith God Darius pick, the counter, has been taken down.
Wow. big moves from the sub top laner, Dawn, crushing it in the debut of the tournament today.
The dawn has arrived.
Oh,
And speaking of things arriving, Yuzora has arrived in the mid lane and has forced 9 back under the turret. As Nom and Don't Care, wait a second.
wow.
Oh, Yuzora trying to flash in to close the distance, but he's not able to get onto Nom in time. The flash was being exchanged as well, and my goodness, Max, a lot of early action in this second game.
Yeah, I'd say the most surprising side, well, actually they're both surprising, now that I think about it. Darius getting solo killed by Renekton up there in the Baron lane is very detrimental for Yawn, but at the same time, they now have a double kill on Lucian. And they've got more range access this time around. They do actually have Nami, so Nami can activate Lucian quite well. You have the surging tides to make sure that the auto attacks deal more damage, and you get that slow as well. And you have the ebb and flow to get the healing and tidal wave too. So just Nami giving Lucian a lot of activation, I think, in this game. I've been enjoying this duo as the days gone on, and it gives Yawn more access to the fights, I think, than the Braum did.
Yeah, making that change and picking up a range support versus a melee support has already proven very successful and given a lot more value for the side of Yawn, as we saw a similar situation where Overjoyed and we were pushing back into Nom and Don't Care, but now that you have access to a ranged champion and a lot more effective sustain than a Lulu would bring in this lane means that Nom can actually have a better time in this laning phase. We'll be able to hit that Blade of the Ruin King power spike very soon.
Absolutely. Well, for Tony getting the help of his dragon lane there, helping take the Scuttle Crab, keeps him afloat. Spotted out, though, and that's a huge chunk of damage just before the Drake is spawned. See if Yuzora can sneak into this pit. We'll have to worry about the Scuttle Crab vision that's been dropped, but it's looking like some of the members of Yawn are just recalling or just backing away entirely.
Oh, Boba throwing out the Mega Ball, but he gets the barrier. No way! No way!
No
Boba on attack!
way.
Oh my goodness! Tony makes it out with the skin of his teeth. But man, Boba, do you now understand, chat, why we have been hyping this guy up?
And it means YMCA get the Drake too, even despite the Scuttle Crab and the early aggression from Tony, who, speaking of, has just made a full rotation up to the Baron lane with Zenith. And that's just a full turret. Tony making the best out of a bad situation. You gotta give him credit.
They said, oh man, this is kind of doomed mid lane, and they can't go to the dragon side of the map for that dragon contest. They're able to pick up the turret, but the Rift Herald will go over to YMCA, so both of the first objectives of the game being secured by YMCA is going to give them a huge map control and presence, despite not having the first break gold on their side.
They have to worry about the Dragon Lane turret falling too. That's now down to a third of its HP, even lower. That's going to be scary. I think Yawn are doing a great job of shifting their focus from the first game where they were going for a lot of kills, and in this one they're still getting some kills. They did still get that bottom lane double kill, but taking some turret damage and that entire first turret top, that's got to feel great. And you get more gold overall when you do that too, because you have the snowball gold from the objectives, and you can use that to go for fights more confidently. So it just is an overall smoother curve to go for. I think the adaptations for Yawn have been great.
They have 4 people ready to stack on top of Overjoyed and Wii. Tony's looking to cut them off. Yuzora is here for the counter engage. Flag and drag, gets a knockup down, and now the Cataclysm is going to lock Tony in the chamber, but he lives long enough to be able to answer one back into Yuzora before finally getting routed off by Boba. Nom in the 2-on-1, 3-on-1 against Boba. Boba trying to put him down to the brink of the HP bar, but Nom is going to be able to walk out alive. Overjoyed gonna get smited and dunked by Zenith God, and oh no, we run. There's nowhere else to run, and for Yawn, they're answered back greatly.
Stepping up yet again, the members of Yawn find a great skirmish. This is exactly what I was mentioning, Rafa. You get the extra gold up in that Baron lane from the turret. You get the extra gold from that double kill on Lucian, and you can snowball that into other fights. I really like this adaptation from Yawn. They've come in with a different game plan, and that's exactly what you have to do in these best of 3 and best of 5 series. You get the adaptation, you get a nice pep talk from your friends and from your teammates. Like, all right, we may have lost that game. We can make some adjustments. We've got this. Just keep focusing and just believe. The power of friendship prevails.
Now you're sounding like Kari. Or Space Ghost, as she goes by now. Well,
oh man,
I don't know if Power Friendship is going to help out Tony here, because he went in 1-on-2 without the rest of the reinforcements here. Overjoyed is trying to live through the end, but Zenith God has enough party members now to be able to take down the Dragon Duo laner in YMCA. A double being picked up for Zenith God, but look at the rest of the map here, Smacks. Because YMCA, they recognize that the Dragon laners are the focus, and they're going for map control in exchange.
I like the cross-map play from YMCA. And they get a return kill, too. They do find one return in the Dragon lane. And there's still no objectives to fight over, too, right? You can see the YMCA making the correct call. Taking down the mid lane turret with Ziggs is really good. And now that's 2 items at 8 minutes for this Ziggs. I'm scared. I'm scared for Yawn that they have to deal with Boba's Ziggs yet again. They've already killed him once, which is way more than they did last game, which is pretty astounding. But They keep those kills going. They're keeping that gold afloat too. And Yawn, if they can just find some nice picks onto Boba, then this is a very winnable game.
Gold lead is technically in their favor, and when you look at members like Nom, he's solidly ahead of Overjoyed. Dragon's going to be started up. 9, getting potentially run down by Overjoyed. Already burned the barrier and the killer instinct to run down 9. Oh no! Yo, Zora says sorry, and Mega Protocol, look, the AoE damage and Shield Cataclysm, they've locked them, all the members of Yawn, into the Death Chamber, and Yuzora is going to be able to live through the very end, even through a calling and a moonfall. Nom doesn't even get a chance to take one back.
Oh, it's a disaster for Yawn. Oh, no. They were set up so well. They got the kills early. They got the turrets early, but Yozora's so clutch on the Jarvan. It's just so hype, Rafa. The steal and then the Cataclysm too. I was worried for Dawn. He dove in and there was no access for the rest of YMCA, but he was the distraction that Boba needed. Just bait, come on in, hit my Renekton. Just wait for this huge bomb to explode everyone on your team. Yeah!
Bombs away from Boba and just hook, line, and sinker. That was a Kobe dunk if I've ever seen one. My goodness. That Mega Inferno Bomb, I think 3 members were in the center ring, so tons of damage coming out.
Yeah.
And if we think back to Game 1 Smacks, this is around the same time where Boba was coming online, has finished the Luden's Echo and the Archangel Staff around a similar game point, where it was for either the second or the third dragon, and Yawn were still feeling confident about their lead, and then just one Boba ultimate is all it takes to swing things back in the favor of YMCA.
And one smite from Yozora too. Now Dawn in position to perhaps start a flank. They don't have all the members of YMCA here. I think this is ill-advised, and they do too.
Oh god, Tony's in bottom right now. There's no way. Spike and drag, Cataclysm comes out.
Flash,
thankfully, Tony waits out the Cataclysm before flashing, but Overjoyed, still with the Agathian Rain and the Killer Instinct, runs down the jungler for Yawn. Now Baron could potentially just be started up right here.
I feel like they could do it just right on spawn. Boba still pressuring this wave. Gonna be on vision, so they know that this is actually happening. You can see that Boba is attacking the Baron over the wall, but, I mean, Yawn can't do anything about this. It's just instantly killed by YMCA. They've got the Baron waves in mid lane now, and Dawn didn't even use anything in that fight either. Look at the bomb. They're gonna start it again.
Half HP on Don't Care just from one ultimate ability. That's Ziggs for you, ladies and gentlemen. And the Baron buff is empowering the cannon minion. It's not gonna make the siege any easier, though, for the time being.
Dawn was really close to finding the slice and dice in, but didn't find the angle, and it's going to be okay. They don't lose anything for that, other than Well, Yawn lose something? They lose half of their support's HP. Oh, they might lose out on this turret, too. Okay, no, not quite. I like what Overjoy did, though. Just sneaking up there, putting the Baron buff on those minions. Maybe if Yawn weren't paying attention, that could have been that turret just snuck away, but they got their heads on a swivel. Still, oh my god. Instantly redemption.
Like, right. Oh my god. They walk up and they're like, alright guys, we can get ready for a fight. Bomb comes out. Okay, I need to recall real quick and get my HP bar back. It doesn't give YMCA the most time to siege effectively, as lovely observers are showing us how much damage Mega Inferno Bomb does at the game, and the fact that it's on a crazy low cooldown.
Yeah. It's going to be up again, and he's got the satchel too, so he can even just safely throw that onto the turret and kill it. There it is. Inhibitor turret down at 12 minutes. YMCA
what?
Snowballing this, and they won't have to deal with Moonfall anymore.
Yeah, 9 doesn't have Moonfall, and that's the go button right there. Cataclysm locks up 3 members in there. Mega Inferno Bomb will find the mark onto 2 in the backside, and Overjoyed with the Killer Instinct is able to rout out the rest of the backline members. Picks up 2 before going down. The cost of potentially the siege going to be a finish, but Boba stays in Nom with the stasis. But Zenith God, we've seen this before. It's the resets and it's the dunks. Zenith God will be able to stop the siege from now, but the damage has been done, Smacks. The base has been opened up.
Oh, man. The Darius team fights are still so strong for Zenith, but like you said, it's just a little bit too late. He needs to come online earlier, and before this base just is in shambles. YMCA already taking down 2 inhibitor turrets. They can turn over to this Drake if they can get onto the map in time. Everyone's alive now for YMCA. That's likely going to be all they need to take down this Drake. And probably another fight as well. We've seen that Boba has a very quick trigger finger when it comes to the Mega Inferno Bomb.
Zenith God is already trying to fight for vision control in this bottom jungle quadrant. Unfortunately, there are wards that are detecting Don't Care in Zenith God at the moment, and the super minions pouring in through the mid and the dragon lane mean that Yawn just don't have a chance to contest for this dragon. It's going to be secured by YMCA. Baron is coming up in 27 seconds, but the super minions still on their side. YMCA, they can just full core press towards that top side of the map, look for a turret take, and then sweep on over to the Baron.
Young man, you have pushed in mid lane. I said, young man, the Baron Nashor slain. Young man, throw the bomb at the thing. I said, Ziggs is just so OP.
It's fun to stay at the wild. Got me in the groove, Smacks. And YMCA, they're definitely in the groove. Boba is feeling himself, man. Death cap, and a little haunting guys as well. Let's just get a damage check real quick. You know, Tony doesn't get half HP chunk, but considering that he is a more durable frontliner, still a considerable amount of damage. Baron being burned down. Tidal Wave is going to gain vision over the wall. Doesn't find any knockups here. 3,000 HP. This is dangerous, guys. Now 2,000 health on the Baron buff. Moonfall is going to keep Baron aggro. They're going to try to go back for the steal. Tony steals the Baron! But now can they fight back against YMCA? That is the question. Overjoyed is on the backside of the map. Look at the Killer Instinct. 9 is going to fall. Tony on the run, trying to maintain and preserve the Baron buff, and now it's only on Zenith God, but it's a 1-on-5 Smacks.
Man, Overjoyed is playing on the edge today, Rafa. The Baron steal was clean from Tony, but they just can't take the fight afterward. This is going to be a quick 2-0.
Mega Inferno Bomb, flag and drag. Zenith God finds 1 reset, but it's not going to be in time because the rest of the YMCA focus down the Nexus, and they win the series and advance into the lower bracket semifinals.
Well done from YMCA. I have a very important question, though. Casanova, did you like my song?
I did. I really liked your song. I really enjoyed it. It may be fun to stay at the YMCA, but it's even more fun to stay in the Wild Rift Summoner Series, and YMCA will be doing that. Unfortunately, Yawn will be eliminated, the second team to be eliminated today. But I have a quick thing. I have a short reenactment of how the draft strategy went for Yawn overall, and you might recognize it from a meme template. But I need you to just pretend that I've got a little easel here with my game plan, right? So first things first, right? Yeah, so draft early game, right? Draft early game and secure Darius for Zenith God. All right, cool, awesome. Yeah, exciting, right? Yeah, okay. Play to snowball the early game, right? That's the next one. Awesome, right? We love that. Yeah, don't ban Ziggs. Don't ban Ziggs. Yes. Wait, don't ban Ziggs.
Don't ban Ziggs.
Oh,
wait
a minute. That. Oops, that one kind of stops a lot of that early game snowball, doesn't it?
Yes.
How do we push towers when Ziggs clears the wave entirely? Because Yawn looked so good in the early game. They're making these tower dives. They're making these plays happen. They're getting ahead, and then the game just keeps scaling, and Ziggs happens. I don't know. I think if I'm Yawn, though, I would take away from this this major that they have a lot going for them. They have some really good execution in the early game, and they might be a team to watch out for looking forward at the majors. I don't know if you agree, Smacks, or if you have a different take on that.
I'd say so. I think there are a lot of good things that are going on with Yawn. And like you said, a lot of that is coming down to that early game. I really liked the bot lane that they brought to the table this time. They did adapt and they brought more range with the Nami. And I think the Nami is a very potent champion too. This pair up with the Lucian ended up being really nice. And I like the build adaptation that we saw as well. You know, usually with Lucian, we're seeing the crit build, but for Nam, he did go for that Blade of the Ruined King just to get the on-hit damage that pairs a little bit better with an Enchanter. So I think they did have those good adaptations in this series, but I mean, just like the meme template you've brought to us implies, maybe ban Ziggs. I think it'd probably be a good idea.
I mean, they're the only team that hasn't banned it from Red Side all day, so I feel like a lot of teams are kind of on to something. But you know, I kind of want to take a look at just the overarching look of today, kind of take a look at the bracket and see, you know, what's going to come next for YMCA as they are going to move on in the lower bracket. Of course, we're going to have Tribe and Enemy tomorrow going up against each other. They've looked both phenomenal in their games today, taking down Cloud9 and Immortals respectively. But we're going to be kicking off with Immortals and Sentinels and Cloud9 versus YMCA. Now, Rafa, you got to cover YMCA versus Cloud9 earlier this week for the qualifier, and YMCA has pushed Cloud9 to the edge off of today's performance. Two different top laners that looked really good. How are you feeling about this matchup?
So for Cloud9, I think they've learned a lot in their very devastating loss to Tribe Gaming, and maybe as they get ready for that matchup against YMCA, they can kind of take it to heart, because to be fair, YMCA in the very first game of that grand finals we had for the second qualifier earlier this week, Cloud9 in the first game were being pushed, and YMCA, you know, took it to them in game one, mainly being able to actually get around Tarzan not having a huge jungle advantage and being able to navigate and put Zello on in an uncomfortable spot. This time around, though, you have to also remember, for the rest of the series, Cloud9 made one switch in their draft, and then immediately they took the Corki away. Corki was no longer available to YMCA and for Boba, and they put a lot of attention to making sure that Boba was not having the pop-offs. And if he went on to another scaling pick, then they just had to push the early game incredibly fast. And so for Cloud9, because they are the ones that still do the dual mid lane strategy versus other teams, then it always puts Boba in one of the side lanes, and that side lane is a lot easier to attack than it is when you're attacking the mid lane, because it's a shorter lane, and the turrets, it's a little shorter together, so you're always at risk of being shot by two turret shots if you go right around for the turret dive versus just the one in a longer lane, whether it's Baron or Dragon lane.
That matchup is sure to be explosive either way, and I think that matchup in particular in the lower bracket has a pretty high probability of producing the team that will make the run all the way through the lower bracket and up to that grand finals. I feel pretty strongly about this, especially knowing that YMCA did manage to take a game off of one of our winners finalists in NME already today. I think this is a very competitive series that we should all be looking a lot forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty crazy. It's building, YMC continuing to build up. They were the bottom seed of their group going
Yeah.
into the qualifier. They come out of that group qualifying after being the only team in the group to take games off of Cloud9. And then they're able to actually take a game off of Enemy, which Immortals was unable to do. But of course, those are going to be some exciting games tomorrow. That's it for us today. However, before I close this out, Rafa, I'd love to get your final thoughts.
Yeah, I actually, I'm so jealous of Alk and Jolly for covering the winners finals between Enemy and Tribe Gaming, because before we came onto the mic, I went ahead and looked back at some old footage of Vain Glory, because that is a game I never got a chance to experience, either playing or watching, but I went back and watched the old tapes from the 2017 World Championships, and when I was looking at that Tribe Gaming roster, I saw that Max Green and T-Tiger on that roster, but also with Dienzio, who not only got the MVP for the entire World Championship tournament run in 2017, but now he's an enemy. He's not with the boys in Tribe Gaming anymore. So now you have the 2017 Vainglory World Championship winning roster going against each other. So I think there's already a lot of history for any Vainglory fans, for or any mobile gaming esports fans, because I know me and Smacks are really new to this scene in general, because there's just a lot of professional players coming from other titles into Wild Rift, and I just wanted to make sure that, you know, yes, we don't come from that background, we don't come from that history, but we acknowledge it and we love it, and we are so excited to see that come down.
I'm so excited as well, and Smacks, I want to get your final thoughts as well before I send us away.
I am very glad that we did not get any Draven Baron lane today. Thank you so much. YMCA, you've heard my pleas, and I really appreciate that from you. Thank you for doing us all that favor, and congratulations on your win as well. I'm looking forward to seeing you against Cloud9.
All right, and on the wise words of Smack saying, please no more Draven Baron lane, that is going to do it for us here on day one of the first major at the Wild Rift Summoner Series, brought to you by Riot, Wisdom, and Nerd Street. Make sure to tune in here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, as we will finally get to see which 4 teams will be qualifying for the second major and also taking home a piece of the pie, a piece of that $10,000. But thank you all so much for watching. On behalf of myself, Rafa, and Smacks, and the rest of the crew here, we'll see you next time.